your staff kill my son. And then your son comes in here and makes light of my situation, and now you...
Withstand global volatility, and what does this moment mean for the Naira, for inflation, and Nigeria's broader economic outlook? Joining me shortly to break this down is Dr. Paul Alaje, lead economist at SPM Professionals, as we analyze the global oil market, Nigeria's economic policy direction, and the practical implications for businesses and households. But the Middle East crisis is not just an energy story, it's also a global mobility story. The escalation of conflict in the region is already raising concerns about airspace safety, flight routes, tourism flows, travel insurance costs, and global trade corridors. The Middle East is one of the world's most important aviation and transit hubs. Major airlines connect Africa, Europe, and Asia through gateways like Doha, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. So when geopolitical tensions rise in that region, the ripple effect can be felt across global travel, tourism, and trade networks. So for countries like Nigeria and businesses connected to international travel and tourism, these geopolitical tensions are already having real commercial consequences. What does this mean for African travelers and global commerce? Later in the program, I'll be speaking with Elizabeth Agbola, founder and CEO of NTT Global Destination, as we look at how this crisis could affect travel routes, demand for tourism, and the international business movement. And as always, Moneyline with Nancy is a conversation. It's not just a broadcast. We've become part of you. You've become part of us. We want to hear from you. Connect with us via the WhatsApp number on your screen and send in your messages and questions. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV, as well as Africa Independent Television. That's our YouTube channel too, Africa Independent TV, for more insights, interviews, and daily economic analysis. So follow us on all our social media handles displayed on your screen right now so you never miss any of our content. Like, share, comment, and be part of this community. But before we go into our conversations proper, let's take the report on preference of local market versus online shopping. Let me start by saying my own. I think I prefer going to the markets because this online shopping has shown me shaggy. You know, so a few of the shopping that I've done online, you know, sometimes it will be what you ordered versus what you got is not just it. But let's hear what some Nigerians have to say concerning buying and selling. Of course, buying and selling have long been part of our daily lives, especially in busy local markets where buyers can see goods and negotiate prices like me. However, with the rise of technology, many people now prefer online shopping because it allows them to order items from the comfort of their homes. And this has sparked debate about which option is more convenient and reliable. In this Vox Pop, Moneyline team asked some residents whether they prefer local markets or online shopping. Take a listen to their feedback.
Yes, the way people buy and sell goods has continued to evolve. While traditional local markets remains a major part of everyday life in Nigeria, the rise of online shopping platforms is gradually changing consumers' habits. Local markets have long served as the backbone of trade in many communities, from food items to clothing and household goods. Buyers can physically inspect products, bargain with sellers, and get items instantly. These markets also provide employment for thousands of traders and help sustain local economics. However, online shopping is rapidly gaining popularity, especially among young and tech-savvy consumers. With just smartphone and internet connection, people can order products online and have them delivered to their homes. Online platforms often provide a wider variety of goods and convenience for shoppers who may not have time to visit physical markets. Despite these advantages, online shopping still faces challenges such as delivery delays, online frauds, and limited internet access in some areas. Several residents say they prefer buying from local markets rather than online shopping platforms because they can see and examine the products before making payments. They also say the opportunity to bargain with sellers help them get items at more affordable prices.
Recently, I started hearing about Temu or whatever, some other apps again that shops online, but I don't really trust them. Even though their cost rate or price or whatever is low, like it's not that expensive. I prefer going to the market because in the market I can see different goods that I want to buy, maybe different quality that I want to buy. Then I can as well negotiate the price to maybe the one that I have. You understand? But the online they will have a fixed price, and you are not certain about the particular commodity or goods that you want to purchase that is going to be 100% what you ordered. So for me personally, I prefer going to the market. You know, they said the eyes will first of all see before the mouth feeds. So I'll go to the market, I'll use my eyes and do some analysis in whatever goods or commodity that I want to buy. And after doing the analysis, I will know if I can actually buy it or not.
And I prefer going shopping to the local market, because local market you get to interact with the marketers and they are quite cheap. But online you don't see the marketer most times, so prices of things online sometimes are either tripled or even doubled sometimes. So preferably, I as an entrepreneur, I like going to the local markets instead of shopping online.
Meanwhile, a number of consumers believe that online shopping offers convenience, since people can shop from anywhere without going to a crowded market. However, they note that prices on most online platforms are fixed, leaving little or no room for negotiation compared to traditional markets.
So personally, I prefer online shopping for so many reasons. It saves you stress, and then so it's basically on your phone. You just have to check the items that you want to buy on your phone, and then you go through it. But then when you go to the market, you have to start going through the stress of looking at the items there, and the stress of getting to pick. But then with your phone, that is always with you.
There are a variety of choices for me, but online marketing I could just scroll from the comfort of my house, and so I prefer online marketing.
While online shopping continues to grow, local markets remain an important part of daily commerce. Both systems are likely to coexist, giving consumers the option to choose between the convenience of online shopping and the personal interaction found in the traditional markets.
All right, like I said earlier on, I prefer going to shop myself physically, because sometimes, when you do this online shopping, what you ordered versus what you got is a bit different. And just like the first respondent said, I want to see the things I'm looking at physically, if it's of good quality, except perhaps if the online person that I'm buying from, I really know the quality of what that person is offering. But, they are both economic activities, and I encourage them. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time for us to engage with our first guest. We'll be looking at how Tinubunomics will weather the storm. If Tinubunomics is resilient enough to withstand this global energy volatility that we are seeing and the rising cost of living as a result of the petrol prices. All that and more when we return from this break. To join us again.
Obviously, on Moneyline with Nancy.
Is it a good time to discuss navigating wealth and investment in these tough times when people are just merely surviving? My friend. So can we tell people that this is a good time to create wealth? Because even in war, in difficult times, people are making money. So
no better time to look for opportunity. Remember what I said earlier, we're now in a market-driven economy. And in a market-driven economy, you tend to see new forms of wealth creation start to open up. And when they open up, it is those who seize that opportunity that take advantage of it. So yes, very important to have a lot of discussions around wealth and investment. And if I may even add, that is why I support any initiative that brings a lot of people together to discuss wealth and investment. In fact, we're even having one very soon. I think I mentioned it earlier to you. Yeah, so we're having a similar summit as well. We call ours WISE. So the whole idea as well is get the investment community, let us come together and discuss how exactly are we going to position ourselves to tap into the opportunities that we find amid risk.
Is it a good time to discuss navigating wealth and investment in these tough times when people are just merely surviving? My friend. So can we tell people that this is a good time to create wealth? Because even in war, multi-generational wealth, how do we do that as women? Because as women, family is very important.
Yes.
To us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very important to us. We're thinking, what do we leave for the future? What do we leave for our children? And all of that. How do we build that?
Yes.
And is real estate something that we should consider? Should it be... Welcome to Moneyline with Nancy. Of course, this is the trusted source for in-depth conversation on finance, the economy, and everything in between. I am Nancy Imaji.
The Abuja Treaty foresees that we have to adopt as Africa a linear model of integration of our market. We foresee, in terms of the agreement, that Africa one day will be a customs union.
That's a great question, Nancy. So you have basically two pillars here. There are things that you must do now because you are in an emergency situation. You have to provide helping hands to those who cannot cope anymore. The extreme poor people who cannot really afford to have food on their table. There is no time to wait for the perfect plan for them. You need to provide support immediately.
All right, welcome back to the program. Paul Alaje is joining me right now, and he's the lead economist at SPM Professionals, Dr. Paul Alaje. Hello, Paul, and welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so very much for having me. A beautiful morning to you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Dr. Alaje, let's first talk about taking the temperature of Tinubunomics. And do you think that you're seeing anything from this administration that, gives us perspectives that they are able to handle this volatility? Is anything coming out from this administration as to that they know what they're going to do if this persists?
Yeah, well, I can't say that the administration have done a number of things. First is perhaps to work with the oil companies as to what the prices could be. But what is obvious is that the monetary policy authorities, talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria, have done well in terms of keeping the reduction in rate very minimal at 50 basis points because of unknown that may happen, which we are now knowing anyways. Again, because of course this will have major implication on inflation at the end of the day. So we have seen that, and we have also seen that rebase inflation has converged to about 15.1%. Because of course, stability we have seen in our exchange rate. These also have major implication on this. But you see, when we look at what is going on in the Middle East and asking whether the administration can do more, the time to take a decision on such issue is really not now. There have been patterns, and I don't know if African leaders have watched. Every 2 years, there seems to be major crisis. One is what happened between America when Trump was president, America versus China. And I remember that I had a show with you around 2018 when the trade war was potent. Again, 2020, it was COVID. 2022, it was Russia versus Ukraine. 2024, even though the matter started 2023, but it was more potent in 2024, which was Palestine versus Israel, or Hamas versus Israel. But most importantly, now we are seeing what is going on between Israel, America on one side, and Iran on the second side, and the implication. What have we done differently this time? I think the only thing that positioned Nigeria relatively better is Dangote refinery, and monetary authority now is watching rates. I expect rate to be held constant by the time monetary authority is meeting in their next sitting. If this war persists to the middle of April, I expect that the rate will be kept constant. If not, if we further reduce rate, of course I'm not expecting an increase, but if we further reduce rate, it will have major impact on what inflation will be, because in Nigeria, the same way exchange rate affect everything in Nigeria. And I was quite impressed when I saw that exchange rate, Naira got devalued from 1,350 to 1,400, and the next day, 1,420. The next day, it went back relatively to about 1,400, which is okay. There is a moment of uncertainty. Nigeria is not prepared, actually, and the rest of Africa. I did a tweet about it. The next time we want to be prepared is to prepare for what will happen in 2028. Because if you don't prepare for what will happen in 2028 will happen anyways. But if you don't prepare for it, forget it. 2018, 2020, 2022, 2024, now 2026. 4 back to back. What next are we preparing for? The total is to lie to you, because the trend they are too clear and is a pattern that we have seen. What may happen in 2028 and what should we do? I think that should be the focus Nigeria and the rest of that should be looked at.
Paul, you did mention earlier, talking about Dangote, of course, Dangote supplying us petrol and all of that. Isn't there a risk there? Now we are just having like,
well, the risk
we are all relying
is,
yes on Dangote.
I would say yes, there is a risk. It's a major risk. You recall that when Dangote refinery came to the fore, I mentioned that it's better than having nothing, but it's not the best of things. It's effective monopoly. And a number of persons say, no, I don't criticize Dangote. No, I am not criticizing Dangote. I love what Dangote is doing, but it does not change it from the fact that it is a monopoly. And the earlier we get it, the better for us. Now, also importing PMS, diesel, and so on is worse. It's an exchange rate risk to us. So of these two risks, which is the better one we need to manage? To me, I think the risk of Dangote is much lower than the risk of importing 100%. Today, Dangote had mentioned I can do nearly 90% or more of all consumption of PMS and critical energy oil in Nigeria, for Nigerians. So for me, I think it's better. Essentially, we are in a war mode, economically speaking. I'm not saying Nigeria is fighting any war, but the impact of war has reached us very, very significantly as a nation. So what we should think about is, how can we repeat another Dangote? I have said it time and again. Recall that I came to your studio when the government of Nigeria, I think the administration says that we have now revitalized the moribund refinery that one former president said it can never work. I laughed and I said, time is what is wound. Today, where are those refineries? Are they still functional? All the media parade, all the media shows around those refineries, are they still the same thing today? You see, private sector must be given those refineries at whatever amount they think they can revamp it. What matters to private sector is you must have output before profit. But for public sector, by just showing up in the office, you'll be paid. So what exactly do we want? We pay people for showing up, or we pay people for performing? And this is the economics the government should know. And it's not just this government, even previous government. We've said the same thing to them. The earlier you understand that we need to make things work by having significant output, it's better for us as a nation.
I don't know if I got a sense of your answer earlier. Okay, let me ask again this way. How sensitive is Tinubunomics to, I'm not in Lagos, guys, I'm in Abuja, so take that off. How sensitive is Tinubunomics to this global energy shock, or even this global volatility? Then I didn't get a sense of your answer earlier, how resilient Tinubunomics will be to this. Or did I miss you? Did I miss it earlier?
Well, like I've said earlier, I'm not sure there are major pillar because of Tinubunomics. I would say that what is important now is that we have the local refineries. And my response to it would be that as the price go up, if government must provide support, which I think they should, which I think government should, get crude to Dangote at a much subsidized rate because of the impact of the people. If Dangote is already buying in Naira, get it just for this window of war, so that it does not push up your inflation numbers, so that it does not push up poverty and hunger amongst the people, so that it does not push up cost of business, cost of output for industry. So Dangote, as a patriotic Nigeria, who has said this refinery is not just for him, it's for our nation, and I believe him. If the cost of crude to him is lower, especially crude that he will refine and sell to Nigerians, and we as a people are willing to manage it, I think that that will be one of the most brilliant brilliant response President Tinubu and his economic team could provide to Nigeria. What that will mean will be that in spite of the war going on in the Middle East, Nigerians among the few countries that have had a way of maneuvering it. And I think that to a large extent, this will not. Now, the other option we have is sell all the crude oil at the price they should be. It will be more revenue to Nigeria. Now, when this more revenue comes to Nigeria, it's shared at FAC. When the FAC shares the money, what percentage of this revenue we get to the people? Will it be trickled down in terms of investment in the economy? 2025, did it trickle down? 30% of capital expenditure is the only thing, according to circular we saw, that got into the economy. Talking about federal budget, the remaining 70% is rolled over to 2026 budget. But people could have benefited, especially this window of war, if we can subsidize from source the crude that goes to Dangote at the rate that the price will not be above 800 naira. Just yesterday, we saw the price went to, in some gas station, 1,150, in some others, 1,300 across Nigeria, in different parts of Nigeria. Some reported that they bought at 1,600. Well, how true that is for us to confirm. So to my mind, the response will be this can drive inflation high. This can also depreciate the value of Naira. It can. So even if we make more in terms of revenue, what happens to what we are buying? It will certainly also affect us. So I think that we need to play the balance. We need to play a critical balance here. And I also would like administration to consider this area. So now the government is positioning the economy to be purely market-driven, for us to be in a market-driven economy. And nothing is wrong with that. Now, what we now need to do is to ensure that the people have capacity to operate in such economy. Most economy that operate pure market system, the average income level is more than ×4 of what average income level is in Nigeria. So if we want to play that game, at least we also need to find a window to get people to empower people so that they can play effectively in the kind of economy that we want to run. So that would be my response to you.
Okay, Paul, as we close this your session, what is your outlook for the Naira moving forward? Because the Naira has been depreciating, of course, understandably so. Then that's your outlook for the Naira. Then what should we as businesses and individuals, what should we begin to do? Is there a way out of this? And let me also add this. Yes, hold on. Let me also add this. I've been seeing that President Tinubu has been meeting, at least breaking the fast every day with different set of people, politicians here and there, senators today, other set of politicians tomorrow. And even though I said that Mr. President is an economic president, as it were, but I'm not getting anything from his body language in terms of addressing that Nigerians are suffering at this time. The cost of living is rearing its head up again, and even saying something to suit us or to say, okay, guys, we're on top of this situation. I don't know, I've not heard, at least from the few that I have seen. What do you think about that, for the president of a country to be humane, and not just thinking about politics? I know we're in a pre-election year, but it's the same people that he expects to vote.
Yeah, well, I think President Tinubu has done this before when the exchange rate went to 1,900 and things were very tough. President Tinubu says, well, I know what you are feeling. I understand you. I wish there were other way, but there is no way. Why? Because we have decided to pursue the market system. So I hope that the President Tinubu will come in, we also come forward in the coming period, maybe next week, speak to Nigeria regarding what is going on around the economy, and as the cost of living is increasing. I sincerely hope that will happen. The earlier it happens, the better. Okay, so that said, your original question, I think it borders on what I call three possible scenarios regarding the impact on the Naira. Now, there are three possible scenarios. If you have a short war, which is no more than a month, 2 months max, we're going to see that the value of Naira may fluctuate mildly. That would be between 1,300 to about 1,600. If we have a middle do, a short-term war. That is what we're going to see. But if this war exceeds beyond that, and Nigeria is properly positioned, what do I mean? We are able to ensure that as the Strait of Hormuz is being blocked, or lines are being laid, and a major logistic companies or ship are not using the line, and countries are looking outside Europe, outside Middle East, where they should get their crude from. What I expect, which I've started seeing, even though still in trinkles, demand for Nigeria crude will sporadically go up. Government can sell crude and ensure that we block oil theft that is reducing the output on one side. On the other side, also encourage investment. Now, this is medium term. I'm not expecting this to happen immediately this month, next month, or the next 3 months. But I said if it extends, what that will mean is that more revenue inflow will go into Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria will be better positioned to protect the Naira, and they should be mindful of quickly reducing rates, because this can induce inflation and also discourage some level of investment. What you will see, because in the Middle East country, people are leaving those countries, especially people that have invested in real estate, people that have invested in their shares. They are looking for where to invest. That destination should be Nigeria, and it should be in Naira. If they come, our exchange rate in time of war, surprisingly, what you are going to see is that the Naira, the value of Naira would increase. Naira will now be between 1,000 to 1,200. Secondly, that is if we do the needful. Part of which I've mentioned, part of which I've not mentioned, if we do the needful. Secondly, we will now also follow the correlation that I've seen over the years, where there are crises in the Middle East. The volume of Nigeria GDP grows. It not only grows, it also improves the value of our currency for a short term. It does not last. Immediately after the war, the growth disappears and the value of Naira crashes even further. The third one is if we now have a long war that is spanning, like what we have seen in Russia, Ukraine, though it's spanning almost forever. That one provides Nigeria with two opportunities. One is either the value of currency totally goes down, because if the war extends, mark you, this may also have implication in Nigeria. We have seen some protests in Nigeria where the government is managing it locally without making it public, which is also a security approach. It could be what they are doing so that we don't have that. So, but if this war is curtailed where it should be, and we don't see this escalation go to other countries beyond the countries that we have seen now, that is, doesn't become quote and unquote an extended war. I don't want to use the word world war. Then you can see that it can either improve our currency or reduce the value of our currency. But in all this, what you cannot take away from all of this is inflation. Inflation will be there. When the inflation persists, it will reduce the value of Naira. But if Nigeria is positioned to benefit from this war, and that's purely our responsibility to do,
all right,
then you are going to see that the value of our currency will go up. Now, in all of this, Middle East, last point, is major
Paul, if you can hear me,
center, where you have
Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear
yes.
you.
I think we have to anchor at this point. Thank you very much. I want to assume that what you are trying to say next is that the Middle East, of course, is a tourist center where tourism, trade, and business happens. Of course, that area is being affected now, and that is my next segment. So thank you very much, Dr. Paul Alaje, for joining us today. I'll speak to you soon. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so very much for having me.
All right, let's move. Yes, thank you. Let's move to the next interview. I'll be speaking right about now with Elizabeth Agbola. Elizabeth is the founder and CEO of NTT Global Destination. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning and good to have you. Thank you for joining us from the United Kingdom. I understand that you have a flight to catch soon, so we'll be quick. Are you worried about the flight you're catching? I don't know if you're flying within the UK or so, you know.
I'm not worried about the flight I'm catching because this is one of the few times that I'm flying via Africa. And when you reached me for the interview, I was like, fantastic, because this is the time where Africa is probably shining more than ever. People that I've never imagined they would travel through Egypt, through Morocco, through Ethiopia. Now this is the order of the day. This is the only way for them to get to where they need to get to. So yes, I am flying through Morocco to Nigeria. Thankfully, I'm not flying via any of the Middle East countries.
How agitated are travelers right now? How agitated are they? Because even for me, okay, go ahead.
You've not been able to as well.
Yes.
So I will speak on a global outlook on the agitation, and I'll speak on Nigeria as well. So in terms of traveling around the world, it's a whole mess. I'll give an example. I was at the largest international tourism trade fair called ITB. It was their 60th year anniversary between the 3rd and the 5th of March. So had it that it was literally 2 or 3 days after the war started. And you can imagine going to the stand when Middle East countries would be, and it was barely empty. The stands were put up because they paid for it already, but the actual human beings that should be there, they were stuck in their countries. So the only ones that could make it were the ones that probably could afford to buy an alternative flight, or the ones that traveled before the war started. So seeing such was a real shocker, like what's going on here kind of thing. So it has already started that people's lives are literally getting disrupted. So many events are getting moved and cancelled. For us in the tourism business, a lot of large groups going for conferences and events, their programs are being postponed. So it being postponed is obviously having an impact on the economic side of the travel companies in Nigeria and even globally, not just us in Nigeria. The part for Nigeria is now travel is going to be more expensive for us. So traditionally, for you to go to Europe, let me say the UK, for example, you would normally fly directly or fly through Africa or fly through Asia. So the price for Africa and Asia traveling through are comparatively same, or maybe Asia is a little bit more expensive. But people would always prefer quality, which is traveling through Doha or traveling through Dubai. The flights are of better quality than going through Morocco or going through Egypt. So right now, Nigerian travelers are literally stuck with having to travel via Africa or pay the higher price to fly directly. Now, an advantage that's come through, which is almost like Africa and Nigeria had a premonition of this thing happening. That's how it feels, because what are the odds that Dangote refinery started 2 years ago? What are the odds that AP started flying directly about a year or two ago? So it feels almost like God has already given Nigeria a partial solution. I will use the word partial because it's not the greatest, it's not the best. We've not been prepared for pressure. So I would imagine airports will have a lot of traffic flow now because people that don't want to travel using African Airlines because they look down on it, and that would normally go for the Middle East airline now would go for the African Airlines, because the Middle East airline, which is the alternative in terms of quality to the direct flights like BA and Virgin, now would use that. So it's a whole lot happening in the air. Travel will be more expensive. Travel will be more calculated. It's almost like us going back to COVID times in terms of mobility, but it's really for the highest bidder right now. Who can afford to pay higher prices? Who is winning right now, so to say?
Elizabeth, do you can you give me like a percentage? Can you give me like a percentage to which perhaps travel costs have increased, especially those areas that do have the Middle East as their transit point? We saw, of course, what happened when the crisis broke out, because even the Middle East is one of the most important aviation transit regions in the world. Do you have a sense of like how much percentage? Because if I want to travel now, what should I be budgeting? Or perhaps it's not even a good time to travel. Let me just stay in Nigeria. Because even personally, I'm thinking about it. I'm supposed to go for a global event. So I'm just in between. Should I go? Should I not go? Should I just stay? You know?
So in terms of percentage in increase, I can't even give one because there is none. Nobody is flying that way using those airlines, or nobody is even flying that way right now because the airspaces are shut. So people are literally trying to get out more than going. So people are going to, because Middle East is in West Asia, so people still need to go to further Asia. So if the airspace is safe, the winners right now are the likes of Ethiopia Air. They're the only ones that go to main Asia and Egypt Air. So I can't speak for percentage in terms of what it was, in terms of what is the loss or what is the reduction in flying an Emirate or a Qatar or a Turkish or one of those, or Royal Jordanian. All of them are literally grounded. As a matter of fact, when the problem had started, and I saw that Royal Air Jordanian was flying, which Jordan is right in the middle of it all, I asked the CCO of the airline, like, how are you guys flying? And when he told me the reality of what they had to do, I asked myself, what am I looking for in life? They have to literally, in layman terms, wait for the sky security to tell them, bomb is coming, don't fly. And then it goes, bomb has gone, move. So when you think about the reality of the ones that are even trying to still fly within this all, it asks the question, what if that bomb was not caught? So, so please, if you don't have to travel right now, especially to that side of the world, maybe you should just stay at home. And we're really hoping more of those events are going to postpone so people don't miss out. People that can't take the risk, we hope they don't miss out in actual important and fantastic events, you know? But as it stands, if you're going to Middle East axis, I would rather say don't, because don't forget the war is beyond just an Iran-Israel problem. They are going for friends of the US. And
Yeah, exactly, Elizabeth. You've even hit the nail on the head for me, because even if one is not going to the Middle East, the US is embroiled in this, you know. Yes. And is there any part of the world that is even safe now, talking about air safety? Because anything can happen, you know. What do they call stray bullets?
The side of Africa. The side of Africa is definitely safe. I'm really hoping that our leaders don't go and start what is not their problem. Let us pray.
They should not put their mouth in what is not their business.
They should not say they borrowed money from America, so because of that they have to go and fight. They should just stay at home. So that's the hope, because if we have that level of stability in terms of the African countries doing what a country like Spain has boldly done, which is, I'm not caught out for this, I didn't sign up for this, and I'm not going to be a part of this. If they can do that, I'm sure we'll be fine, because Iran their problem is not the civilians. Their problem is anything owned by America, be it their human beings, be it their businesses, be it their naval, their airspace, their military base. So, and as I said, Middle East has been best friends with the US for so long. As a matter of fact, something I even read, which is not so much of our business, but one of the core reasons as well why Iran is very head-bent on the UAE in terms of high-level destruction is because Trump himself, the president, has high-level investment in that country. So for them, touching his personal assets matters to them in this war. It's a personal war right now. It's no longer a war of we want peace, we want this. No, it's a war of you killed my father. It's a war of you keep bullying the world. Because that is how most of the other countries are supporting. That's how they feel. Like Trump, he first bullied us with tariffs. Now you pick who you want to pick. You do what you want to do. You can't do that. And Iran is standing up. So we don't really know how long this will last for. So I would just say in the meantime, you know, whilst aviation hubs are affected, finding solution is very important right now. African airlines need to step up. This is not the time for those airlines to send their ugly crafts to Nigeria to carry people like they normally do. This is the time for them to improve their service quality. This is the time for them to retain people that would normally not fly them. Because people will say, me, God forbid, I can never fly Ethiopia Air or Egypt Air. But if you know you have to go back home or go back to school or go back to somewhere, you'll fly it. And that's when you'll be like, but the airline is not bad though. So eventually retention happens. So it could also end up being businesses for the African airlines in the step up. Okay. Because what has always been the problem is been that people looking down on African airlines over the Middle Eastern airlines once they cannot afford the direct ones to most of these European countries.
Are the African airlines taking advantage of this, I'll call it opportunity for them? Have their costs increased? Or are they still within the rate at which they fly before just to get more customers?
They're not key. Getting more customers is not their problem, because the truth is they've always had customers, those African airlines. They've never struggled with customers. So what I would see this week would be price increase. I haven't checked what's going on myself in terms of tickets. I've not asked the office, but I can see because of demand, there's going to be a demand problem. So because of demand problem, we have to go with the highest bidder rule for who can hop on those flights or not now. So I don't want to believe, I would love to believe the African airlines that would increase their price, they're not doing it out of greed. I would love to believe. I would love to hope they've done it or they would do it because of demand, because they can't meet up, because 20 of us cannot pick a ticket for $500 anymore. It's going to be who can pay $700. So that, you know, those that would normally buy $500 will just sit at home from far. Like, oh, I can't afford it. So it's that kind of a situation right now that we're hoping those African countries can step up, you know. And, you know, as they normally say, tourism is the first sector, you know, when it comes to any geopolitical instability. Whilst it feels like, oh, travel is leisure, it is not. It is an economic decision. It is, right now, I can imagine what my colleagues in Nigeria will be saying in terms of cancellations. I know people that had leisure groups in Qatar that are stranded there. More than ever, this is the time when Nigeria and Nigerian travelers need to start taking travel insurance seriously.
Exactly,
That
I
has
was
been one
coming
of the
to that.
biggest fights. One of the biggest fights that we have with travelers is, please, you must do insurance. And they tell you God is my insurance. More than ever, this is when you know that God has sent those insurance companies to protect you. Because God is not insuring nothing for people, right? So people are literally texting and begging for money.
Yes.
They are begging
that.
for money, please, I'm stranded. So now more than ever is the time to be careful. It's the time to not take unnecessary risks. This is not the time for you to say, I'm bored, I want to go to Qatar to go and spend the night. Oh, wonderful, they've put this up on the screen. So part of the opportunities that I've also seen that this has taken up is Africa is now, once the interpretation is personal for me, but seeing this, Israel's stand was empty at the exhibition for starters. Never happened before. And they did not put Israel where they normally put them, which is in Europe. They put them in Africa. It's easy to be offended, like, why would they put them there? But guess what? It means Africa right now is a message that, listen, wear up your big pants. This is the time for you people now to be leaders in the global space. This is the time for you to take on your space where you have never been rated. Because putting Israel there is keeping Israel safe. Because they can't put Israel where Europe stands are anymore. They can't put Israel where Middle East stands are anymore. They've hidden them. They literally came to hide them in Africa, like, please help us to cover them here so that we don't agitate the rest of the world. When we agitated the Africans' presence, maybe not. I saw an opportunity right away. It literally translated to me that more than ever, this is when people are going to reach out to us to say, your country, can we now this via your country? Can we? Because we're never seen. We're always seen as second best or even fifth best, not even second, fifth best. So seeing something like that at an international exhibition just struck me. Like, they didn't even find anywhere else, nowhere else but Africa. Yes, it felt like they dumped them on us, but at the same time, I saw the opportunity more than the insult. But yeah, this is the time more than ever for us, you know. And as you know, global tourism supports over 330 million jobs, you know, which is about 1 in every 10 jobs. So this disruptions definitely is affecting, you know, tourism flow has been affected as consequences on the economy, not just travel alone. Travel is just one part of the problem this thing is given to tourism. So yeah, so we can only hope that with how much tourism is interconnected with aviation, trade, because even when you go for conferences, they're staying at home right now. We're back to COVID times or joining conferences virtually. Very few people are going physically into these conferences right now. And it will all have a ripple effect on the global chain. And we can only hope that Africa can step up to soak up the space, to support people to still be able to attend, e.g., maybe more flights per day now, because that I've not seen yet, because I would imagine Egypt already flies like 4 airports in Nigeria. So maybe now they can increase their frequency in Lagos from 1 flight a day to maybe 2 or 3. So this is the time for people to see the opportunity, but at the same time, the opportunity you're seeing is also solving problems for the people. So if Egypt Air, for example, now can increase the flights they bring into Nigeria, the price will flat out. But if they're still insisting on the 1 flight per day, the price will go up. So it's that kind of balance of conversation that airlines need to have, especially the African ones. Are we coming in as leaders, or are we managing our business and going our way? Whoever wants to fly should fly. Whoever wants to stay at home should stay at home. So it's all interesting right now.
Okay, if you say the word interesting or depressing, especially for, yes, especially for businesses that rely on international mobility, businesses like trade, businesses like conferences, trade fairs, corporate travel. From your experience, what strategies would help these categories of people, and perhaps even you too, remain operational during this geopolitical uncertainty, what should those kind of businesses do? Because I assume too they have their staff, there'll be, businesses will be low now and all of, so what strategies, very quickly in 1 or 2 minutes, we have to go.
So the first thing more than ever, they should first of all postpone whatever they have on, because it's better for them to have whatever activities they have on in terms of, I speak for events first, it's better you postpone it than have 5 people versus 500 people. That is a huge blow because you've already rented the space. You've already paid the money you need to pay.
Like the ITB
people,
in
500
Berlin.
people.
Exactly.
Yes, like what I saw. So that kind of an exhibition like that, you know, I went to Jordan's stand to surprise one of our partners there. And I got there and I didn't see him. So I took a picture. That's the picture I shared. And I said to him, I said, "Hi, Ahmad, I came to surprise you." And he goes, "I couldn't make it. My flight was cancelled." So you can imagine someone like that, how depressed he would have been, because the pay for that stand is not free. So minus the money lost is also him not being able to make the business and the collection. So I guess for people like that, in that situation, just make sure you can keep in contact with the contact you already have. Reassure them that you're still in business. Reassure them, create virtual, go back to the days of COVID. Try to move some things to virtual. Try to still, just make sure you nurture your community. Don't just say because nothing is happening, we're not traveling. No, still make sure you can still be in the space. Communicate via newsletters, communicate via articles. So those in trade, still do your virtual B2Bs. Because for me, all the trade activities that we do in our organization, we always make sure that there's an online element to it. So there's already an online matchmaking before the physical conferences. So if people are not already doing that, this is the time for them to do that, because if an event has been postponed or cancelled, at least you can still be discussing the business with the people you are planning to meet in the place.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. I wish all of us well at this point, and my heart desire is really to see this thing ease, because it's affecting everyone in no little way. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. For
Thank you for having me.
So you can run along now. I wish you a safe trip.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I've been speaking with Elizabeth Agbola, who is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Entity Global Destinations, and we've been looking at the Middle East crisis, impact on tourism, travel, as well as trade. That's the show today. Thank you all for joining us. As always, I am Nancy Naji on behalf of my team, and I have a lovely day. Be the best you can be. Be the change that you want to see. The news is up next. Bye for now.
Focus Nigeria. It's a huge task, but we take it on.
I think that is the law. National Assembly is not doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria. It is America that is doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria.
Monday to Friday on Focus Nigeria, we identify the nagging issues.
So people put people in poverty deliberately, deliberate misplacement of priorities, and brought people on their knees to suffer.
We seek answers to the tough challenges.
And because of
the former president, what I know is that he has not turned his membership card. He has not been attending your meeting.
Leave that to us to deal.
There's no shying away from the issues.
The system is held accountable. The leaders are accountable for the funds, for the resources that they manage.
No sitting on the fence.
The same thing that made you live where you are may confront you.
Focus Nigeria, 10 a.m., Monday to Friday on AIT.